ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the menu. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I am Nathaniel.
The main course, the pièce de résistance, the centerpiece, the keystone. What are other
the
titular
meat and potatoes?
The meat and potatoes.
Thank you.
You could have meat and potatoes for the entree.
I could.
Yeah.
I actually did have meat and potatoes earlier.
You did have meat and potatoes.
It was chicken, but
chicken is meat.
that is true.
It qualifies.
People forget that, really, don't they?
Yeah. Chicken is meat. Yeah.
I guess in the phrase "meat and potatoes," you're generally thinking like
I am
a red
thinking
meat.
steak. Yeah. I am thinking steak. I guess chicken. What is it? Chicken, turkey? What else is like the white meat, like kind of outlier?
Pork.
Yeah. Pork.
Veal. Sheep.
Sheep. I don't have veal often.
Lamb.
Lamb. I wouldn't put under poultry. I wouldn't not classify
Well,
lamb.
no, you
with
just said it was
chicken.
poultry, so it was white meat.
Is lamb white meat though?
I have no idea.
I think it's closer to red meat.
Don't believe so because pork is also pork is actually considered more. Yeah, no, it's red.
What about
It's red.
what about people?
I have no idea what color
red.
the meat
I would
be.
have to assume we're white meat.
I don't know.
Because aren't we like pork? Isn't pork like the closest thing to us?
I have no idea.
I feel like that is. Maybe I'm
Probably.
just making up stuff now. This is now. This is just.
I don't. I haven't really
This
looked
is
up
just
what
a
it people taste
pseudoscience
like.
podcast now.
Yeah.
Bro
Oh
science.
my god. Also joining us today, it's appetizer Ty, Tyler Verdalis.
It's not the first time I've been called appetizing.
Because of Ty.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I hate people that go like appetizer. Like who says appetizer?
It's probably like more correct for
I've
some
never
in some
heard
way.
that.
I have no
You
idea.
never heard that?
No,
An appetizer? I'm like,
no. If somebody
That's-
said that in front of me, I would.
Is it like-
I would have to argue.
I think I'd have to leave the table.
Aren't like the appetizers? Isn't that like a menu selection at an Applebee's?
Maybe that is. Maybe that's where they got it from. I've heard people say it.
That feels like a Midwest thing.
Oh yeah,
Like
that feels
at
definitely
its
like
core,
a,
like the person that calls something an appetizer, they have an unhealthy relationship with mayonnaise.
sure.
Like I feel
Yeah.
comfortable making that call about them.
Yeah, that's like what your best friend's mom
Mm.
said.
Or
staying over for
dad. That
dinner
seems like a
and
dad
she's
thing.
like, "But it's hungry. You want an appetizer?"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
gives you a little bite. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Rustle you up a couple apple teasers. Apple teasers is what I call
Apple teasers.
Yeah. Going one layer further.
Is Applebee's is it like a cool place to drink now? I know.
No.
I know of us. I'm just I guess going out with obscure things that I guess maybe only pop up in my life, but like friends at school sometimes will just go to do happy hour at Applebee's.
I feel like that's like an ironic Gen Z
It kind of
thing.
is.
Yeah.
I think it kind
A
of
way to
is.
save money, but
Yeah.
still be
Yeah.
cool.
And just
for
get
sure.
hammered.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm
Because
sure.
I think their margaritas or whatever
Or like
at
a
happy hour,
$1
yeah,
or
they're
something.
like they're probably like $5.
Yeah, and they're just sugar
yeah.
and alcohol.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know people
But the-
who just go there. And
Yeah,
I haven't
but the thing
been.
is you can pretty much catch that same vibe almost if you just went to like any like local bar joint, which
Yeah.
is probably a better option.
Yeah.
You know what I
Probably.
mean? Where you can just go and sit there and do that. So,
Probably.
and the food's probably better as well at the local bar joint.
Probably. Yeah.
Or
I'm taking
Applebee's food
taking
is
Chili's over Applebee's
Oh, for
every day
sure.
of the week.
Yeah, I think I
Without a
would
doubt.
too. Chili's is
Without a doubt.
Chili's is awesome.
But yeah, no, I don't think an Applebee's is the new trendy spot among the
Maybe it's the Gen Z thing.
the downtown
maybe,
clientele.
maybe Gen Z is gonna bring back Applebee's.
God love them if they do. I think
They
this is
finally
like
saved something.
that's the thing is Gen Z brings things back ironically. Where
Yeah,
like
sure.
where our generation brings it back out of nostalgia,
Mhm.
Gen Z brings it back out of irony, out of like a sense of fuck you.
Look how shitty this film camera looks. It
Right.
looks so cool.
Right, yeah. Like they do it out of a this was a crappy thing or something from earlier.
It's aesthetic. It's aesthetic.
Yeah,
Nathaniel.
it's
aesthetic.
the younger generation always rejects what the generation before did,
Yeah.
but now they
embrace it.
Yeah,
just to
they
rub
embrace
in.
it to make it
To rub it
an
in.
ironic
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's it. We've solved Gen Z.
That is a big part of it. I think it's funny. Maybe that's why they do it, just for the laughs,
Yeah.
for the gigs. Rounding out the squadron, of course, it's Big Cake BlakeHolder.
Not a huge cake
That
fan.
was going to be my
Not a big
question.
cake fan, like I said.
Was how would you feel on
Lost that joke.
cakes? Because I'm also not a huge cake fan, unless
Not a
it
cake
is
guy
the
at all.
triple chocolate cake from Costco, where it is a chocolate cake, chocolate frosting, chocolate flakes. It's just pure good chocolate, and it's awesome. But anything else, really, not like the white vanilla cakes. I don't even know if the vanilla's a flavor, but like just whatever that cake is, I'm not a big fan. I don't like frosting. I'm not a big frosting guy either. We've lost Blake.
We did lose Blake.
So sad. But I'm more of a pie guy than a cake guy, I would say. Not all the time, but apple pies, I'll fuck up a pumpkin pie.
Cherry.
That was just such a really. You had my brain going one direction, and then you just went the other. You're like, apple pie, but apple pies, I'll fuck up a pumpkin pie, and I just it
was more of like
ran-
I did take a bit of a left turn there.
Yeah,
I did kind of bait you.
It really shut me down for a second there, where I had to just recalibrate myself.
In my mind, I was just listing things, and then I wanted to heighten the fact that I love pumpkin pie, so I had to add that in.
Sure,
because I meant
yeah.
to just go apple pies, pumpkin pies, but I just went apple pie, and then I should have probably ended with the pumpkin pie to kind of round out the three thing list. But yes, apple pie. I love pumpkin pie. Would fuck one up. And most other kind of pies. I mean, key lime pie is good.
I like a key lime.
Yeah, key lime's good.
Coconut cream.
I was about to say coconut cream. I'm not a huge fan of cherry pies, but I will say
I won't eat a cherry pie.
vanilla ice cream on top. I will.
No, thank you.
Vanilla ice cream on top is all I need, and
Don't
I'm
want
on
anything to
board
do
for a
with it.
cherry pie.
Cherry pie is the best, bro.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's good. It's up there.
I'm a big fan of French silk.
French silk's always
I
classic.
don't know if I've had a French silk, but it sounds
Really?
delicious. I probably have, and I just didn't know.
It's just like
I don't know.
chocolate.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
a
then
really
yeah, I
big fan of
definitely-
like crumbles.
Okay. Like
You mean like
a cobbler?
like a peach, like a peach cobbler, with
Ah.
a little crumbly on top.
Cobbler's good.
Yeah.
Cobbler with ice cream. Any cobbler with like vanilla ice cream, I'm on board.
Yeah, I would say I identify as a pie person over a cake
pie guy?
person. Yeah,
Pie
I
over
would,
cake every day.
Yeah,
I would.
I
I'd
think
rather
so.
have a birthday pie than a birthday cake.
Every year of my life that I can remember.
I always get that chocolate cake. I'm talking about it for my
Mm.
birthdays. So like,
Fair
that's
enough.
the
That's your
only
one
thing.
exception.
Yeah, those cakes are insanely good, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. That with like a
Now, where do you
glass of milk.
where do you land on a Portillo's cake? Seeing as you are a Midwest boy,
Same deal.
Okay.
Portillo's cake.
That is-
Costco one that I'm
the
talking about
allowed
is
one.
better, but it's the same general idea where you're just kind of chocolate on chocolate on chocolate, triple chocolate death cake, whatever you want to call it. Portillo's cake is good. Now the cake shake, bad.
I agree.
Not a fan.
I agree.
Overrated. A lot of people when they bring up Portillo's, to people who don't know what Portillo's is, always bring up the cake shake, and I always say that's not the highlight. Okay, it's not. The regular shakes are fantastic, but when I get the cake shake, it doesn't add anything for me, and then I just feel like I'm drinking sprinkles.
Oh yeah, and like in contrast to like an Oreo shake or something, I
Mhm.
just feel like with a cake shake, it just feels like there's just debris
Yes,
in my
Yeah.
in my shake.
100%.
These aren't ingredients. This
No,
is
no,
just-
it's just
it's extra dust.
yeah. It's like chunky.
Yeah.
It's just a chunky shake, and I don't want it. I would have gotten a smoothie instead if I wanted that. Or something else.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're overrated. I don't think they're bad, but they're definitely there's better places you can get a shake at.
I would just rather have a regular chocolate shake. Like, why do we have to put cake in it? Why?
I agree.
I want more shake, less cake. If I wanted a cake, I would get a cake. I feel like
True.
I'm writing a Dr. Seuss book here. Portillo's, let me know if you want me to make a little children's book for you. I'm available.
Little jingle, little
Yeah.
jingle jangle.
Little jingle jangle. Blake, you missed the combo. Pie or cake? Oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we don't have your audio, Blake.
Might have to reset that with the settings here.
He said, "Fuck you." I don't care
Stand
about
by,
your question.
listeners.
I was
for
gonna say
Blake's
the
input.
listeners got to wait just a little bit
The
longer.
suspense. I wish they made pumpkin pies year round.
I mean,
I'm
you
sure
can.
find a place that makes pumpkin pies.
I'll
all
take
year
that
round.
back. Or I'll rephrase. I wish Costco made pumpkin pies year round. Because
Okay.
Costco pumpkin pies are really the only kind of pumpkin
Am I good?
pies. Yeah,
You
you're
are
good,
now,
man.
sir.
Costco pumpkin
Oh,
pies
man.
are by far the best pumpkin pies.
I
They're
think
like,
you just have a weird thing about Costco.
they have great dessert, man.
I think you've just
What
been
can I
raised
say?
on Costco
I
dessert.
have, yes. From the Midwest, white family, we have like a Costco membership, so of course I've just been raised on that. And you know what? I have no problem with it. I haven't really found places that top Costco as far as desserts go at that price range. You know, just big ass cakes, big ass pies.
Do you think it's because you grew up on Costco desserts?
No, I've tried other places since I've grown and gone to school.
I know,
and stuff.
but I feel like that's part of it. Like, of course, the first thing you're gonna enjoy is like the formative one.
No, I don't think I'm alone on this. I've
Okay.
heard other people love their pumpkin pies. I think it's a
Okay.
it's a thing.
This is a new
Their
thing.
pumpkin pies are a thing.
It's
You
a
ask
new
around,
thing to me.
You ask around. Costco
I'm just
pumpkin
drawing
pies.
dots. I'm just connecting lines.
I
In the last
appreciate
20
it.
minutes, we've talked
I
about
need-
the
I
Costco
need-
cake and the Costco pumpkin pie. So I'm just thinking.
I need someone to be a mirror to kind of reflect back at what I'm looking at. You know, I need someone else to be my mirror so I know, I'm not going too far in one direction, right, Nathaniel?
Too far down the Costco
Yeah,
train.
exactly.
Maybe you should take a field trip to Sam's Club and see what
I
happens.
you know what? I have several friends who have Sam's Club memberships at school, so that's what I use to go there. Their dessert's not as good.
This has been wholesale talk.
This has
on
been
Back Row
wholesale.
Banter.
Yeah. No, the Costco pie thing is real.
Okay,
Ask
I'll
around.
take your word for
Ask
it.
around. People know the Costco
I'll
pumpkin pies,
I'll spread the word in my community.
and I'm sure probably not as popular, but just as good as that chocolate cake. And I've had good desserts other places. I think that pie is the best pumpkin pie I've ever had,
All right.
and I think I would recommend it to anyone who is looking for it. Although it's really, they only start selling them in like October, and then they stop after Christmas. So I don't know if you can get them anymore.
That's why they get. That's the whole reason for you to keep your membership.
It is.
That's why.
No, it is a good reason. Blake,
You got me?
the world is dying to know.
Thank you.
Are you a
Thank
pie or a
you.
cake guy?
I'm not a huge pie guy. The only pie I really like is pumpkin pie.
Okay. Are you a fan
I-
of the Costco pumpkin pie? Have you heard?
Actually, I am. I
Okay,
am. So
see?
parents got
It's
a
known.
Costco membership.
It's known.
Kind of similar. However, kind of similar. But I grew up in an African American household where we are separate in that.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I like Costco pumpkin pie. But in terms of my palette of pies, is really the one I'd eat. In terms of my palette of cakes, I think there's a larger selection of cake.
Oh, okay.
But I do think I like pumpkin pie the best of all those. if
Best
that
of
makes sense.
everything. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. So birthday comes around. We're throwing you a surprise birthday party. Would you prefer a pie or would you prefer a cake? Because we
birthday,
can't
you
obviously
gotta go
we can't
cake.
ask you. It's gonna be a dead giveaway.
Yeah, you got to go cake. for
Got to
the
go
birthday.
cake. Okay.
Got to.
Okay. Fair enough.
What about like an ice cream cake?
Ice cream cake's fantastic. Sign
agree.
me up. Sign me up. Dessert
Happy
in
medium.
general. I just love desserts in general. I think I have a problem.
Could be.
I just look for at night. I'm just looking for anything sweet or savory. And honestly, I don't find it often because I have to keep it out of my house. At school, I can't buy anything. I avoid buying desserts because I know I'll just eat them all.
If we're gonna find you sleepwalking in a Costco bakery one day, your mouth just shoved with
just
chocolate
stuffed,
case,
Just
yeah,
fucking stuffed.
chocolate
Yeah,
cake and
mouth covered in chocolate.
chocolate cake icing.
This has been dessert talk. Now I'm hungry.
Well, that's your fault.
and I want dessert. Maybe I'll stop at Taco Bell, get some of those Cinnabon Delights on the way home.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds like an idea.
Sounds like diabetes in a box.
Hey, man.
Most.
Let me
fast
have
food
let me have my moment. All right, let me have my Cinnabon Delights.
Cinnamon diabetes.
Well, that's it for dessert talk. Let's get into what we're watching. We'll just roll right through.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of late. I think we're all kind of tired. Still want to do this pod though, of course. I'm actually very excited to talk about this movie. So hopefully we can get this energy up for the review here and what we're watching. Nathaniel, though, what have you been watching, man?
Yeah, let me pull up my little list that I keep around here. Well, I got to the new Christian Bale movie on Netflix.
Oh, what is that?
It's called The Pale Blue Eye.
I haven't heard of it.
It is about a murder, a moida that happens at the Army Academy, the American Army Training Academy or whatever. And this is set in like the 1910s, 20s, somewhere in there. I don't know.
So like World War I era?
Prior, I want to say. Prior to that. Because, and this is part of it, Edgar Allan Poe is a character in the movie.
That's interesting.
And he was at, I guess, the West. I think it's West Point. West Point at the time.
Yeah, it's
or at some point. And he, yeah. So this Moida is one of the cadets, and then Christian Bale's character is brought in as a outside detective to investigate what is going on here.
A Benoit Blanc.
A Benoit Blanc-esque, yes, but a little bit more brusque.
Sure,
we'll say.
sure.
And he kind of takes Poe on as a sidekick, and together they try and solve a moida.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Is it based on a true story?
No.
Okay.
It's historical fiction for sure.
Gotcha. Good. I was gonna say this is
And it's
interesting premise.
Yeah, it is an interesting premise. I would say it's a movie that the premise probably gets you in for the first 30 or so minutes. Then it drags for a little bit, and then it really builds up to kind of the last 2 or 3 scenes, which don't quite add up to be more than the sum of its parts.
So that not a lot of payoff, it sounds like.
I would say only payoff in
Gotcha.
in kind of that ways. And similar to Don't Worry Darling, in which like the best things in the movie happen in the last 15 minutes and should happen a lot earlier.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, so overall, I'd say give it a watch if you like Christian Bale. It's directed by Scott Cooper, who did a couple of other movies with Bale. I think he did that Hostels movie, or Hostiles, however they pronounce it in that one, and Out of the Furnace and something. He's done a couple different films as well too. He might have done Antlers. Might have been the guy that did Antlers.
I was going to say that name sounds familiar. You said it's Stephen Cooper?
Scott Cooper.
Scott Cooper.
But yeah, anyways, so that's on Netflix. You can watch it if you want. I think it's on like their top 10 list. Go check it out if you feel like it.
Yep, that's Antlers.
Okay, so it is that guy.
Yeah, I was like, you said that name, and I was like, I think we've done the movie of his on pod.
Well, continuing on from my recent Hitchcock kick after I saw Rear Window, I watched Vertigo.
Another one I really want to get to. I haven't seen that one actually.
This one, or I should say this week. Yeah, obviously it's Hitchcock, so it's pretty good chance it's awesome, which it is. Jimmy Stewart carrying over from Rear Window, yeah.
Not in a wheelchair in this one?
Not in a wheelchair. No, weirdly in a back brace, though, at the start of the movie. So, like, I think, I wondered if that was, like, a little bit of an in-joke by Hitchcock himself. But, yeah, and, it's a movie I don't really want to talk about very much because I feel like it's really good to go in as blind as possible, and not really knowing anything about it is even better. But yeah, it's a movie that just is very strange, and one that you as you're watching it, it feels very kind of like unlike most Hitchcock movies, but still builds up to kind of a genuine gut punch ending, like he's kind of known for and everything. And yeah, it was good. It feels a very personal movie, I would say. It feels like there's a lot that Hitchcock's kind of saying about himself and his own self-awareness of himself, maybe.
Like a Fableman's.
No, not quite
I'm
quite
just
to
kidding,
that
I'm just
level of the
kidding.
Fablemans, where it's a very almost 1-to-1
Yeah,
translation.
yeah.
It seems, but there's some interesting ideas that he brings up there through the James Stewart character, and everything that goes with that. Yeah. I got to the Banshees of Inisherin.
In a Sheeran, I don't know. It sounds like an anime, and some if you take
Yeah,
you don't know,
sometimes,
if you
yeah,
don't,
of
if you don't know
course.
what it is, it could be an anime.
Yeah. So that's Colin Farrell and
Mhm.
Brendan Gleeson. Directed by Martin McDonough, I want to say his name
Yes,
is. And it just swept a bunch of Golden Globes last night.
it did. It kind of rocked it. Didn't it?
Yeah, which I don't know if we're talking about the Golden Globes anymore. They're bad.
Yeah.
But don't take bribes, people. Anyways, allegedly. Banshees of Inisherin is awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. Colin Farrell's amazing. He should be in all the things. And yeah, I can't remember if that made me watch the Batman or if I watched the Batman prior to that. But I watched
You
the
had it
Batman.
on last week when we recorded.
Yeah, that's right. And I finished it after that because I think the Colin Farrell thing reminded me of that as well too.
Mhm.
But yeah, really funny movie. A very one you got. I would recommend all listeners watch with captions because unless you have
Yeah.
a very good understanding of the Irish accent, it's very Irish and like it goes very into like Irish vernacular too.
Sure.
So like you just won't understand it at certain points. So definitely watch it with captions. Definitely going to be a movie that I think will split the vote on some folks on if they like it or if they don't or if they get it or if they don't.
Yeah.
But his last movie was 3 Billboards Outside
Which
Ebbings,
I liked.
Missouri. Yeah, which I liked. I liked enough. I think this is much better.
Yeah?
In my opinion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, big recommend for me. I think it's on HBO Max right now. And the last thing I got to was The Menu, which we watched this week for the podcast. So that's what I'm going to end with, and I'll kick it on over to, let's go with Blake.
Yeah, didn't get to too much movie-wise. Ton of sports, like we're kind of caught up college football playoff championship game, I should say. Watched that. Huge blowout, so turned that off about third quarter. So, movie-wise, I don't think I got to anything. I did get to a new Turning the Tables though, so that was probably the highlight.
What album?
They actually
Nice.
did. They did Daytona. So that's Pusha T's last album. Well, it's his second most previous album. That's the sentence I'm looking for. It's out from 2018, which is actually an album I have on vinyl right behind me. So yeah, they did that one. That was really cool. Short album though, so I think that video was only like 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. That channel's awesome, man. That channel is very quietly probably within about my top 5 favorite YouTube channels I've now come across of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely one that you brought up, and definitely something that you can tell is stuck with you and kind of resonated with you. So that's good.
Yeah, for sure. So that's that. That's it. That's it, really. So I'll keep it brief. YouTube, watching people play video games, kind of the regular stuff. Siege, Mortal Kombat.
Who do you watch
Work.
typically, streamer wise?
For Siege,
Yeah, Siege, and then anything Mortal Kombat too, because I know there's Mortal Kombat's pretty big.
yeah. So Super is probably one of the bigger Mortal Kombat streamers
Mhm.
that you'll come across. He doesn't usually play with like characters that I main, so I guess I don't watch him a ton. But he's just a large streamer,
Mhm.
so I'll pretty much watch it. Right.
Yeah.
In terms of Siege, I'll go with. I don't. Do you follow like Siege as much on stream? Like YouTube?
Not really. The only guy I follow that does Siege is a guy named Matimio, who I
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if
I'm
you know.
tapped into him as well.
Okay, Matimio
sure.
is really good. He used to do
Yeah.
Battlefield stuff when I was really into Battlefield, and then when Battlefield kind of died off and Siege
okay.
got really popular, he just switched over to Siege.
Yeah.
So he's like the main guy I go to if I want to do Siege stuff.
Yeah, for sure. He's up there, and there's another guy up there for me. His name is Gregor.
I've heard of Gregor, yeah.
So yeah, so he's good as well. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Short and sweet, fellas. We'll go Adam.
Yeah, sure. I actually got to a couple things this week. Where's my list go? It was just there. So I got to a thing Nathaniel put on his what we're watching list last week. This Place Rules, which we had on actually right before the podcast started recording. So this was a documentary. What was his channel called? Channel 5 News.
All gas, no brakes.
All Gas No Brakes. Is he okay? He was attached to something called Channel 5. Wasn't
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Which was looking him up earlier. Apparently a sex pest. So
Oh.
allegedly.
he? He is.
Yeah. I don't know. Like
Okay.
he Twitter is saying that he's got some, ladies after him now. Allegedly. Again, want to allegedly all of this.
Interesting. Well, I really enjoyed the documentary.
I know, right?
That's always sucks to hear. I just pray. You know what? I just pray Bo Burnham's clean. That's all I can do.
He's
That's
the
all I
only
can
one
do.
we got left.
It's
right?
he's all we have left is Bo Burnham.
Just,
What's this guy's name? I forgot. I
don't
even-
have heroes.
Yeah, right. What is this guy's name?
Andrew Callahan.
Andrew Callahan. Anyway, he, Nathaniel talked about it a bit last week. He's kind of had a channel going around to different, interviewing different like people at protests on both sides of things, MAGA protests, BLM protests, all that kind of stuff. And he's been on social media for a few years now. Pops up on my feeds every once in a while. But he put out his documentary, which is kind of a culmination of his interviews and experiences kind of leading up to the events of January 6th of 2021. Was that 2021 or 20? Yeah,
For
it would
what?
have been 2021 January 6th.
2021, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's only a year ago. That feels. Oh,
We're in
yeah, okay.
2023, bud.
Yeah. Wow, that's 2 years ago. Okay, thank God, because I was like, that's not a year ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now. Okay, cool. Anyway, so yeah, it's his interviews and him chronicling events leading up to the January 6th raiding of or infiltration of the Capitol, whatever you want to call it. Everyone needs to watch this. I think maybe not like everyone would love watching this, but like if you think you would, or it's just fascinating to watch because you just see how out of touch people on both sides are. And that's the thing I love about it the most is like it's not like he just goes to BLM or he just goes to MAGA protests and is like, look how dumb these Trump supporters are. Because he goes to those protests. Those people are dumb. But then he goes to the Antifa and the BLM protests, and you're like, what these people are saying isn't all that much better. It's just a lot less like kind of out there, but it's also not that much better. So you really don't have anyone you're kind of rooting for in this documentary. You're kind of just watching it like losing hope for everybody.
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
Well, it was good at showing that both sides were just at least the people that were there out at the protest.
Yes,
a lot of them had on either side had come unmoored from reality.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
Right. It really just highlights the polarization on both sides of things because each side likes to point at the other for what they're doing as far as, the media goes and pushing people to the fringes, and it goes both ways. And I really enjoyed this documentary, and I think it's he's a younger filmmaker, and it is definitely of a style that like I really enjoyed, and when I try to like think of things I would like to make, like I kind of actually was watching this like this is kind of something that seems really cool and like something that's not easy to make, but like really simple in what it's doing and effective too. And then watching it from the kind of this perspective of the stuff I kind of learned in my documentary class, like it's just interesting because he doesn't like he's interviewing these people because he's standing there holding a mic to their face, and obviously he's asking them questions to kind of get them to talk, but like when he just cuts their responses, and so you're kind of just seeing him standing with a microphone, and you're kind of watching these people, and they're everything you hear is how these people want to be heard, really, with a microphone. When they're given like an audience with that microphone in their face, like that's who they want people to know of them, kind of, or that's what they have to say with the platform. So it's just interesting when you just kind of, you're not really hearing the questions being asked, but you're kind of just seeing what people will say with a microphone in their face at these kind of things.
Sure.
And like that's the persona they choose to like give off and portray to the rest of the world is, I'm at this protest, and these are my strong beliefs, and he doesn't.
You see them go on.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
they're performing.
Yeah.
It's their performance with the microphone in their face. So kind of looking at it from that perspective was cool as well. Really, really simple, really effective. Definitely liked it. That's on HBO. Only about an hour and a half or so, a little bit less than that, around there or something. So would definitely recommend if you're interested in that. I went and saw Avatar again.
Oh.
Second time, right?
Yeah, I made a mistake, and I didn't see it. I didn't see it in 3D again, just because I wanted to go see it with my friend, but the only times that we could work out were there was no Dolby 3D.
Sure.
I didn't really know if I wanted to pay for or do IMAX because the IMAX theater at Woodfield isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love it.
And you don't have
I get very
A-list.
cramped. Yeah, and I don't have A-list, and he actually hasn't been working. He's basically broke, so I was like, all right, I'll just pay for a movie ticket, but I didn't want to pay for a 3D ticket. There's a multitude of reasons why we went digital, but so yeah, I just saw it in a regular 2D digital theater, which is fine for most movies, and I just don't think this one it just doesn't do it justice.
Okay.
And but I also was interested to see how I'd react watching it
Right.
without 3D, because at this point, then I'm just watching the movie for the movie itself and not as much for the spectacle. Because obviously, it's still there; it's a big screen, it's a theater, all that. But I'm not kind of enraptured with the 3D effects and how good it looks in that sense, and the high resolution and all that stuff. I'm kind of more watching it for the substance of the movie itself. And you know what? I think during the review, Nathaniel brought up the writing, and it was a much bigger issue this time around for me. As I'm kind of sitting there watching, I'm like, this is very just dry and not substantive at all, and there's kind of just dialogue to move a loose thread of a story further. There's not a lot of substance to what's being said, and I don't know. I just didn't come away loving it as much as I did the first time around. It was still good, but the writing, I just kept noticing it over and over because that's all I could pay attention to this time around, and I just was really disappointed. And kind of want to go see it in 3D again, just because I want that spectacle back, and I don't want to have it ruined for myself.
Don't want to leave with that taste in your mouth?
Yeah, because I have a bad taste in my mouth after that screening. And a part of it, too, was like, I'm watching this, I'm like, that looked better in 3D. That looked better.
Well,
in 3D.
and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
now,
and
too.
exactly. And it's a 3-hour movie, so I'm kind of had to sit through all of that. But yeah, I need James Cameron to turn things around with this writing of his. I think it is. I think it's a little bit of an issue for me now. My guard is up for Avatar 3, James Cameron. Be wary. And then the last thing I got to watched The Menu, of course, with the folks, Papa Schwartz, Mama Schwartz.
Papa Schwartz approved?
Papa Schwartz approved.
Wow.
Yes, Papa Schwartz approved.
Mama Schwartz not.
Mama Schwartz. Actually, you know what? I think it is just because she didn't fall asleep during this movie. Which she sat down. She's like, my goal is not to fall asleep, and she didn't. So you know what?
She hit her goal.
She did. She really
Kudos.
did. Shout out Mama Schwartz. So, we finished The Menu. Shorter movie. What 140
Somewhere there.
roughly. And it was relatively early, only like 9:30. So me and my dad were like kind of sitting there, looked at each other. We were like, we want to watch another movie. So we scrolled through HBO. I gave my dad the remote, and he landed on Memento, which I had not seen before.
Nice.
Yeah, the Christopher Nolan flick. What year is that? 90. Oof, I don't even know. 90. Oh, it's 2000. 2000. So yeah, that was my first time watching that. You know, I want to watch it again at some point because I came away not completely confused. I was able to follow it, but there were some things that like didn't fully make sense to me, and I just don't know if I was tracking it right. There's a lot going on in that movie, obviously.
Is that Joey Pants?
Are you referencing the actor?
Yeah, I think it's Joe Pantoliano.
I
I get him and John
yes, it is.
Leguizamo confused.
Yes, it is. I wasn't sure who.
John Leguizamo in The Menu. Joey Pantoliano in Memento.
I see. Yeah, but good movie. Really interesting concept. Really like that storytelling technique where you're kind of going backwards a little bit. So I liked that a lot. I almost wish Christopher Nolan would like
Shut up.
No. Yeah, no.
I don't know. That just popped in. That was just a weird, intrusive thought.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that because that was hilarious. But like if I wish he like would like redo this one almost. I feel like he's probably grown quite a lot in his writing and how he goes about. He's so meticulous. Like Tenet, say what you want about it, not his best, but the things he has going on there's a lot to track. And I think he does it somewhat well. And I think if he were to take another crack at this one, he could maybe do it a little bit more effectively. That being said, still good, but I think this would be really good if someone took this kind of concept and took another shot at it, either Nolan or someone else. But I like this idea of kind of unraveling the story with the character and then you kind of go backwards in time a little bit. I like that a lot. So I think it'd be better maybe if he got another shot at it, because I think there's places it could be cleaned up. But still, overall, very good. Really enjoyed it. Really unique. Really, really unique. So that's pretty much all I got to. Ty, I think you're last one here.
I sure am.
Tell us, Tyler.
My stuff was pretty short, pretty chill. Still watching Naruto Shippuden. I am in the beginning of the Pain Saga, which is just
Pain.
all sorts of epic, and I can't tell you enough.
Yeah, that's
how much
a good one.
Naruto is really becoming like it was top tier for me before, and I think it's just aged really well for me, and I'm having a blast. So,
How much more do you have to go?
I don't know. I'm trying not to look.
Okay.
I can't remember just based off of like episodes. I'd have to really go look. I just don't want it to be over.
You could start over if you want.
Yeah, I know. It is an endeavor though.
Yeah, I know. But the pace at which you've gone through this show is incredible.
It's astronomical.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
Sometimes I don't know how I do it. But dude, I'm telling you, when I'm hooked on something, it's
true.
It's hooked on phonics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys remember those?
Of course.
What is it?
Hooked on phonics.
Hooked on phonics?
I don't think I think that might be beyond me, my age.
Blake?
No, I have not.
Hooked on
Dang.
phonics.
It was a program that you would get. It was an infomercial, and it was to teach kids to read better. And the idea was you needed to recognize phonetic spelling. So you would see that like hooked on phonics was HOOKED. So you'd see the KED and understand the k sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Alex Trebek, I think, was their spokesperson on the infomercials.
Interesting.
But all the kids would always at the end would be like, "Hooked on phonics worked for me." And then who's it? Brian Regan.
Work it for me.
Yeah. He has the whole hooked on phonics bit. Hooked on phonics. And yeah, that was the whole thing, is that phonics is the worst word to try and teach to any kid phonetically, because it's like you see the PH and puh. Yeah.
Puh.
Yeah, worked on phonics. Worked
funny.
for me. So yeah. Check out that Brian Regan bit, folks.
I'm gonna
Good.
check
I'm
out
glad somebody
Hooked on
else is there.
Phonics. I want to learn how to read.
Continuing with Will and Grace,
Oh boy.
and I think we're in like season 4.
Of 10?
I think so.
Oh boy.
Also
So-
going through that.
Yeah, still moving through that quite a bit too. It's definitely, you can tell like the comedies obviously become fairly routine, so it's something that we can definitely have like more in the background. She doesn't really expect me to like pay attention because there really is no storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then my big thing that I got around to, which if you have me on Snapchat, you know what it is, and that is Rent.
Yep.
So I watched Rent. Well, Leah and I watched Rent, which always just it's a good one for me.
I've never seen it.
I also have not seen it.
Well, we've been doing, musicals before, so
It's
I don't know
true.
if we'll ever get it on pod. It's not like something I have to like express myself either. That we just like we have to get it on. So, yeah, it's just I recommend it. Go see it. It's good.
Where's it at? Is it on like Disney Plus?
HBO
Oh.
makes, I think. I believe is where I watched it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Is
Other
that
than that, it's just been streaming, gaming, all that good stuff.
streaming, gaming, wedding planning?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's good. We're getting some stuff done tomorrow. I think we're gonna go register at a place, at a store, at a Beyond.
Ooh.
And then I think we're gonna try and get some save the dates enveloped and addresses written and whatnot. And I think we're gonna try and make some headway there. But yeah, it's good.
Sick. Chugging along, it seems like.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, I think that means we can go ahead and get into the main review segment, everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Nathaniel, the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten. Can you give them a rundown of how their new favorite segment works?
Oh, what up, folks? Your new favorite segment rundown goes like this. There is a non-spoiler section, and then there's a spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go around and talk about the movie's IMDb page, who wrote it, who directed it, who starred in it, all that good stuff. We'll talk about the summary, give our first impressions, recommendations, all that good stuff.
And our last impressions.
Yeah, sure. Why not? And yeah, I guess that is true in a way. Sure. And then we'll get into spoiler talk, which will be our big spoiler time talk, if there's any big spoilers for the movie itself, and any big plot twists or anything like that. But if you don't have anything spoiled for you, do come back and listen to our podcast, or listen to our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. Wow, I really just fell apart there.
You know what? We all have those days.
Yeah, it's true.
Not every podcast can be perfect.
Anyways, tell me about The Menu.
I would love to. This is a relatively new movie, released last year, the year 2022. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.3 out of 10. Directed by Mark Mylod. Mylod.
I was looking at this yesterday. I think he's kind of a hired gun. He's making the jump from cable shows like Game of Thrones and stuff. A lot of HBO shows up to feature film. This seems to be his first feature.
Cool. Well, good for him. Pretty good shot at a first feature film. Written by Seth Reese and Will Tracy. Starring, of course, Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, snaps,
Hey.
Nicholas Hoult, Hong Cho, Jeanette McTeer, who is in Ozark, you might recognize her there. Paul Adelstein, John, how do you pronounce his name? Because I've seen this guy before. John Leguizamo.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, okay. Amy Carrero, Reed Birney, who's, I think that's the House of Cards guy. He's the vice president. Blythe, I think, is his name.
Okay.
And then Judith Light. I think I'll probably stop there. There's Rob Yang, you might recognize from Succession. Yes.
Our boy.
Nathan. Yes, our boy. I'll stop there. There's a pretty big cast. But we already checked off the main names. I feel like I don't mean to snub anyone that I didn't list, but if you want to see more, they're on the IMDb, of course. The IMDb summary reads as follows: a young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. That's great.
Yeah.
Great summary. Yeah, that's good. Leaves you kind of wanting more, kind of little appetizer for you, if you will. And tells you enough that you need to know. Doesn't go too far, because with a movie like this, you don't want to spoil too much. So that's a great summary. That's a tier 1 summary right there. Thank you, whatever IMDb user left that. So to fill in the blanks, actually, there's not many blanks to fill in for you. Anya Taylor-Joy, she's taken to incredibly fancy restaurant. What did they say a price per plate was?
$12.50, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Insanely expensive. So hoity-toity, rich place restaurant. Kitchen is right next to the dining room. You can see in, all that thing, and the dinner is not what you expect on a remote island where the characters are isolated. Who would have thought?
I certainly didn't.
I certainly didn't either.
Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk? This is the first time for everyone here, correct? Or did someone watch it beforehand?
I did
I
not
was
see it.
thinking about it,
Yeah.
but I did not.
Yeah.
I did not catch
We
this
almost
theatrical
reviewed
run.
this when it came out in theaters. And then
Yeah, that had been October.
Yeah, October,
I'll say.
November, somewhere around there. And something else was coming out at the same time where we were like, we should probably do that instead. So we did. But here we are. We got it back. Came all the way full circle because it was on HBO. So I personally really enjoyed it. It wasn't anything where I was like, oh, wow, everyone needs to go see this. But it was like for an hour 47 of my time. Very effective, very quick, very to the point. I really enjoyed it. Great performances, great concept. I think. Obviously, there's holes when you look for them, but like they kind of address them here and there. So I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, I would. I overall was very positive as well too. It was one of the ones I remember like seeing the trailer for, and I was like, they got Ray Fiennes in this thing.
Yeah,
Like, how
yeah.
the hell did this happen?
This does not seem like a movie that would get this kind of cast together.
Yeah, and I
The
remember
concept of it.
for sure being like, I felt like the cast or the movie was punching above its weight in its
Yes.
cast, for sure. But yeah, I think it was a blast. It was a good little fun movie overall. It was pretty clever, and you definitely had you going in one way, but the questions it was kind of asking you to go along with weren't dumb.
Mhm.
I guess it's like you as a viewer know the concept and where you're gonna go pretty quickly. The only question is, why is this happening, and what is the overall end goal going to be? And to this movie's credit, I think it takes a pretty interesting place to get there and a pretty interesting path to get there, and was worth my time in the theater. So that's basically all you can ask for from me. I'm a recommend.
Yeah.
Blake, as our other horror thriller aficionado.
It's hard to
your
classify the
thoughts?
genre here.
Yeah.
Is it horror? Is it thriller? I don't know.
It is. It honestly kind of borders like that American Psycho genre.
Yeah, black comedy.
Territory
yeah,
type
sure,
thing.
sure.
Yeah. So it definitely has those horror elements in there. But as a whole, I liked it. It was about on par with what I thought it was going to be from seeing like the original trailers upon release. Anya Taylor-Joy is awesome as always. Yeah, I do think this is one of those, as we go on to talk about like movies being palatable, especially horror movies. I think this little subgenre, it's so niche of horror that most people are probably okay with watching something like this, right? Especially in a group setting, or you just want to put something on late at night. So I think it checks all those boxes. So I'm a big recommend.
Cool.
I would agree. Nice little popcorn movie. Not too gory if you have a Carolia
Sure.
in your life.
Sure.
Yes.
Overall, I thought it was very playful. It definitely knows what it is, as we've kind of gone on record on saying about some movies. I'm a recommend. I had a really good time with it.
Cool. Well, I think this is kind of more of a movie we want to talk about in spoilers.
Yeah.
So I think we can just head straight there. I think we're 4 recommends. Definitely worth watching. If you are curious, I apologize that we don't talk more outside of spoilers, but this is one that kind of goes places quickly, and obviously you kind of have an idea of what those places are, but there's more beneath that. So yeah, we're just gonna go into spoilers here. If you have not seen the movie, don't want to spoil it for you, check that episode description. You can jump ahead, and you'll be safe from all spoilers, and you can see where we rank it.
I definitely just beeped out you saying spoiler time.
I was swearing, so it's a good thing.
Shit goes down.
Shit goes down. Actually, Papa Schwartz turns me when the guy, does the thing. I'm gonna, I'm watching my words here because there might be people still trying to pause or skip around. You got like 3 seconds here, but yeah, when the sous chef kind of goes up and has his presentation, my dad goes, "Oh my god," and he goes, "Shit goes down, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dad. Yep.
True Papa Schwartz reaction.
Of course, you gotta love it." Yeah, this. So, I want to start this off with like, is this a great example of a movie that kind of shows how like your expectations are going to determine your enjoyment of it? Because I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and since I had those lower expectations, I think it's kind of I liked it more, and I think more highly of it. Whereas like Blake said, "Oh, it's about what I expected," but like I didn't have many expectations for this movie other than hearing that it was good. But I just didn't think it was gonna be as good as it ended up being. It's very smart with how it handles the concept. It doesn't it could have gone poorly. Like this on paper isn't a great concept for a movie, and I think other writers may have handled it differently. And I think just the way they went about it never felt like this was anything too outlandish. And they handled it very well. I don't know. Is this something you guys feel like could be true for this movie? Is it one where we think it's better than it really is?
I think it's just clever enough to be your Friday night viewing after, Friday night viewing. It's not going to be one that you come back to again and again and again. But, if I woke up in a movie theater and it was playing, I'd definitely watch it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think I'm with Blake. My expectations for it were about where they were being. Again, like, or I think we're met about where they were, with like the exception or the caveat of it going in of being like, okay, well, Ray Fiennes isn't necessarily just in anything. So like that intrigues me enough that like maybe this is going to have something more than just your garden variety thing. And I think it for me, it met those expectations for sure.
Yeah.
So not necessarily in a negative way, but it was about what I expected.
Okay. Ty, Blake, where did this come down in expectations? Blake, you already kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
Kind of met where you were at. Ty, does this exceed at all?
I don't know if Ty's there right now.
I can't see his screen at all.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll I guess circle back. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like recently my expectations of movies have greatly determined my enjoyment of them, and I think there's something to be said for that.
I remember hitting that point. I
Yeah.
felt like where it was. I definitely got to a point of like, have I decided whether or not I'm going to like a movie before I've even sat down and started watching it? And I think that is something where, in the movie viewing process, or in the kind of movie learning to watch movies and learning how to watch movies from a critical lens, at a certain point you stop kind of just attributing things on a good bad scale and just saying, well, it's kind of just arbitrary.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't, that only takes you so far with a film, right? That can only take you so deep into its own criticism and into, you can only press those ideas so far into it and look at it under that lens for so long.
Yeah.
But if you just kind of throw out the ideas of good or bad anyways, because all movies are subjective, then it becomes kind of this thing of, well, what parts of the movie work, what parts of the movie don't. And I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I'm a believer that the only rules a movie has to follow are the ones that it establishes for itself.
Sure.
And that's what makes it functional, and that's what makes it, functional for the viewer as well too.
Right.
And I think this movie does a good job of that as well too. And I get where you're coming from though. I want to let you know, there is hope on the other side.
Sure.
You won't always just feel like, oh, that kind of ennui, I suppose.
Yeah. I think part of it also too is nowadays social media and like, film Twitter and all that stuff. Like I feel like before I even sit down and watch a movie, I know whether or not I should like it or not. And I wish that wasn't the case. I wish I could just go sit down and watch a movie and have no one else's opinion of it in my head to like kind of baseline off of first. So I don't know. That's the kind of irrelevant to this movie specifically, I guess. Just something I was thinking about because of this movie.
Sure.
So
Well, I think it's another thing that's been brought up a lot in our kind of lives recently and stuff that we've been talking about. Because like even as we've been deciding a lot recently on movies to do for the podcast, it's been like, well, I've heard that this movie is good. I've heard people say this movie's dog shit. Like I've heard that this movie's long. I've heard other people say blah 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 about this. It's that we now know everyone's opinion on everything, which is something we've talked about before on here as well too. And yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you just got to decide for yourself what you like.
Mm-hmm. It's hard nowadays. You kind of use social media almost like a filter to like. I just it's good and bad. There's pros and cons too because I think things like Pig wouldn't maybe break out as much.
Yeah, of course.
So there's obviously pros and cons there, or even this maybe not have broken out as much. If this was just a theater release and if streaming existed without social media, maybe I don't click on it when it comes to streaming. So, maybe this is an example of where social media can be a good thing like that, or other people's thoughts on the film and feelings on the film kind of boost it up in certain cases. But I think we've also seen instances like Wonder Woman 84 where it's completely the opposite. But back to the movie itself. How are we feeling here, guys? This movie kept surprising me in like how kind of complex it kept getting.
Sure.
Like there were a lot more layers there than you kind of initially think at the beginning, and I think that's what kind of makes it a fun watch from the beginning to end. Like it keeps like throwing things at you that keep you engaged, and you're not really sure what's gonna happen towards the end. Is everyone gonna escape? Is everyone actually just gonna die? Is she gonna get out alone? Is she not?
Well, I want to say it's like half an hour in or so that they're like, yeah, we're gonna kill all of you.
Yeah.
And like,
basically.
no, don't worry though, we're all gonna die too.
Yeah, it's
but
not just
like,
you guys.
You're all terrible people,
Yeah.
and you deserve to die.
Yeah. And the movie does a good job of like, you feel bad for these people, but also it's somewhat justified. Like this group of people, kind of shitty people, and like when he goes around the room and he's kind of like listing off like why each one of them are there, you kind of start to understand a little bit more. And so, they do a good job of that where it's not like just like innocent people that they're killing and they're kind of just being hostage for no reason. It's like, oh no, there's thought behind this guest list, which is also another good bit at the beginning when she tells when the guy tells him that this isn't Miss whatever her name was
Miss
supposed to be.
Westfeld.
Yeah, Westfelt. And then like you see the look on her face, you're like, oh, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You're like, that's bad. That's really bad. Which was a good bit to keep going back to. I think for me, Ralph Fiennes is a highlight of this film, along with Anya Taylor-Joy. The two of them are probably the biggest stars in this movie, and they kind of show it.
Yeah, I'd say Nicholas Hoult would be your other one.
Yeah.
Kind of out there.
Yeah,
sure.
he was one I've recognized but haven't seen like a ton.
Sure.
One of those kind of actors, but he's definitely up there. But the other ones, the supporting cast, definitely hold up. It's not like anyone appears lacking, but Ralph Fiennes when he is just giving those monologues, I'm just enraptured. I'm just enraptured with what he's given. It's great.
Yeah, it's funny. They I think one of my favorite parts was the fact that they actually reference Chef's Table, which is something that I have actually brought up on pod, and something that I actually thoroughly enjoy. And yeah, just the fact that one, his name was Tyler, and two, that he had watched those and he actually likes food. In this case, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a fond appreciation for food, and it's something that I love. And it's funny that that kind of came up, and we obviously share a name, so that was a lot of fun for me. But overall, I'm pretty positive on the movie. There are definitely some loopholes that you could probably find and probably nitpick at, but overall, it's just a fun movie. And I just kind of like what you said that really kind of piqued my mind there, Adam, about his monologues and the clapping and the yes chef and everything.
Clapping.
And like when he spoke, it was very he's a very demanding character, and I think any chef is like that. So he did a great job in kind of portraying his message. I love that it was just like John's character. He's like, you made a shitty movie, bro.
Yeah. It was my one day off, and I had to
Yeah.
see a movie, and it was awful. It haunted me.
And that's his only reason for being
Yeah.
there. That's so good.
Yeah, your student loans? No, you
No?
gotta die.
Nah, you're dead too. Yeah, that's such a great line.
That was a line of the movie for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of commentary there, and it's pretty out there or like blatant, but like the whole class divide there, and
Yeah, the workers,
Yeah,
and
the
the
workers and
providers and the
the-
takers.
yeah,
or whatever it
exactly,
says.
yeah.
Makers and the takers.
makers and the takers, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that was a great line. What's good to go to? Brown student loans? No.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah, you die too. So good. So good. Yeah, I really like the inclusion of what's his name? This guy right here. What's his character's name? Tyler. Oh yeah. Okay.
Nicholas Holt. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of characters in this movie.
There
Anyway.
is.
there's a
Um,
lot. Yeah.
His I like the inclusion of his character and the whole reason he's there, because you're kind of wondering. There's a lot of subtext too in this movie of like, what does it mean to be at the top of your field? Like to reach the top of like a creative field, like cooking or another. You could also say at the top of like filmmaking and being a director, the top of whatever it is. Writing, sure.
Acting.
Yeah, we could keep going. To be at the top of that, like, what is that?
Curling.
Curling is another. What does that do? When I think the line he uses is like, you're trying to please people who can never be pleased, or,
Yes,
or satisfy
yeah.
people who can never be satisfied. And then there's kind of Tyler there, who's kind of there to. He acts almost like he has the expertise of the chef, but then he asks him to cook, and he has no idea what he's doing. And
Falls apart.
Yeah, exactly, falls apart. And like, there's obviously people out there, and shit, you could maybe even loop us into there somewhat, of like people who think they know the ins and outs of something, and kind of are there to take that all in. But then when it comes down to how much they know in practice of cooking or whatever it is, you can't really they can't really shape up to anywhere close to the top. So who are they to kind of come in and the critic being there is another part of that. Who are they to come in and critique the art of cooking or whatever it is? So definitely like that inclusion there. There's some undertones of the movie.
Yeah, it was a particularly brutal scene, I feel like.
Yeah.
I remember watching it with Waz here, and I remember Tyler maybe as well too. Like at the start of the scene, I was like, "Oh no, this could get bloody." And instead, it decided to go with this just, no, we're just gonna stress you out,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I thought that was a very interesting way to take it overall. And again, because it is, it's as we talk about, like we're sitting here talking about the movies. We don't make movies. We don't write movies or anything like that. It's an incredible process that's incredibly difficult, and we've never done any of that stuff. And the goal of the critic is not to ever insult someone or make them feel bad about the thing that they made. It's to go out there and say, this is what the movie is. This is what it says. Here's some different ways that you can interact with it. But I think that's kind of also what they're going to with what Ray Fiennes is saying over the course of the movie, is just like, what drives him crazy isn't the fact that people want to eat his food, is that they want to take all of the joy out of the food and just and reduce it down to this meaningless exchange that just makes everyone sad.
Yeah.
I think it plays into a little bit of like the gluttony of the human race as well. People are just so used to, like, especially in America, just giant portions, and again, just kind of having all the food that you can possibly get, and to play on the same point that you were doing, or that you pointed out, was you're not here to eat, you're here to like actually taste it. And it's important that we don't take things for granted that we kind of have every day, that some people just don't have and never will have the pleasure of having.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's also a lot in this movie to be said about the whole class divide too. Of these the Richard, was it, who dined there 11 times
Yeah,
and
never knew what the food was.
yeah, and couldn't even remember a single dish, and most people are lucky to eat there once, like that kind of thing, where some people are just so oblivious to the privilege that they have in their own lives, or to compare to others, that they take so much for granted, and to waste something as precious as chef, what was the name, chef Slowick.
Yes.
His something as precious as his cooking, like to waste that is just disrespectful.
Where do you guys land on the ending as obviously as Margot works her way out of there?
I like it a lot, actually.
Yep.
I was really satisfied with it. 'Cause I think they continuously backed themselves into the corner of no one's getting off this island. No one's getting off this island. No one's getting off this island. So you kind of keep thinking, how the fuck is she getting off this island? Like, she, either she's dead and it's not really a happy ending kind of movie, or she's going to get off in some, way you'd never guess. And it ends up being pretty smart in how it does it. And I agree with I like the fact that she's the only one to survive, like no one else there. It really justifies getting out of there. So I think that's nice, kind of bow on top of it. The fact that she kind of made the connection with the burger thing, how he had one of his first jobs, it seems, was flipping burgers at a burger joint. And kind of uses that against him. Also a very American dish, and you could probably play into the whole class thing in that regard too. But yeah, I like the ending. I think it tied it all together nicely, and they kind of got themselves out of the corner pretty well.
I think that is the thing that this film, I guess, maybe suffers more from the most, is that it clearly doesn't want to kill Anya Taylor-Joy or really put her in all that much of danger, so that is where you definitely I feel like you feel that in the movie as a viewer as well too. So you're never that worried for her overall.
She's getting out.
Yeah. But as a send up of the takers, I liked it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm a big vote for you. Big recommend. Big vote for me. Catch it on HBO Max if you want.
Yeah, it's good. Well, perfect runtime too. Doesn't overstay its welcome at all.
Yeah, I think it's under 2, right?
Yeah, about an hour 40.
147.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake, you've been a little bit quiet. Anything you wanted to add here? Any of the points you would make?
Not much. I think you all kind of hit it on the head. As far as the movie knowing what it is, I think Nathaniel was the one. As long as movies don't break the rules they establish for themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah,
especially horror movies.
I'm on board for this one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said especially horror movies, or movies kind of like
for
this. Like, that's especially important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell you what, as far as the movies that we've seen recently on here, the past probably 4 weeks we've recorded, I think this is most likely to get the first rewatch from me. That's just one, due to accessibility of HBO Max, and then 2, just that, I mean, we're looking at under 2 hours for watch time, and it's palatable. You can watch it with anyone. I can watch it with my dad. You can watch this with some buddies, having some drinks, whatever you want to do. So
yeah. Before we get out of here, I don't think we talked about Anya Taylor-Joy enough. She's great. What a gem.
Yeah, she's awesome for sure.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's getting up here on the list now too, though.
With the number of appearances.
Yeah,
she's got Northman, Last Night in Soho. Now this is her. We haven't done Witch.
We don't have the Witch, right? So yeah, I think she's at
3 at least. I don't know if there's a 4th on here. I don't think so. I'm trying to think what else she's been in. She might have.
She's I stopped at the store this afternoon after I got done with work, and I saw pretty much everybody, but Nathaniel and I walked out together and we were talking about it, and she is slowly becoming my Florence Pugh.
Yeah, she's awesome, bro.
She's great.
For sure. I'm with you.
I saw a tweet that was just like, can Anya Taylor-Joy just act in a movie where she has a nice time? Like, this poor girl's always
tortured.
Yeah, chased around, so and real scream queen of the late 2010s, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Because her roles are always. She's always down bad in her roles. It would be nice to see her kind of take on just like a Could she play just like a nice little like housewife of some sort?
Well, I never watched.
have some- there's
What
just
was the
things
TV show she was on in Netflix? Queen's
and
Gambit.
Queen's Gambit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same
Did
deal
you all
there.
watch that? Or,
Yeah.
She's an
I never
orphan.
dove into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's an orphan
she's
and,
not having
and an alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah, she's not
She's
having
not
a
having a good
time.
time. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, oh, that's funny. But she's great. Still love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to give a quick shout out. What a gem.
It's another one of those like, and I made this kind of comment to Tyler earlier as well too. Like, there's certain people in Hollywood that you can't imagine them like in a Home Depot, like trying to
Yeah.
look for like paint primer or
Mhm.
something like that. Like, I can't imagine just running into Anya Taylor-Joy at like
Starbucks.
yeah or something like that. I feel like you would only come across her in like a spirit shop or something like that, or running wild through the woods or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or on the streets of Soho, I guess, in a pub.
Mm.
Yeah, she's got it. Yeah, she hangs around some odd settings in her movies. That's for sure. Yeah, I think are we good to get out of spoilers here?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well, hello, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead, rank the movie up upon our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we reviewed on the pod, ranked against one another. It's how we rate our movies, see how they compare to each of the other ones that we've reviewed. If you want to see the list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description. Entry 131.
131.
131.
The menu.
The menu.
Also, would anyone eat any of the food that they made? We didn't even talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the food.
The cheeseburger looked dope.
Cheeseburger looks great.
Yeah, it did. It did.
The chicken. There was that chicken
Mm.
dish. The oysters. I mean, the wine looked good too. He was describing that wine, and I was like, "Damn, I'd go
That
for a glass."
bone marrow.
Tyler's bullshit looked good.
Yeah.
that bone
Spoilers.
marrow right after. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, that was. Good looking food. Don't know if I'd pay $1,300 for it, but
Yeah, no shot.
it's all part of the experience.
This
Alright.
is one that I just feel like is gonna get pushed towards the bottom because we just have a bunch of good movies on here.
A lot of good
Yeah.
movies in here.
I'm with you.
And it's another one of those ones of like, do I go horror movies to kind of like gauge it against?
I've got a good spot.
Okay, go for it.
67. Below Soul, above A Quiet Place.
I can't put it above X.
I can, and I will.
Fair enough.
Y'all are a little bit higher on X than I am. It's been that way since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Continues to be that way. I'm sticking at 67. I think Soul is getting a little snubbed, being knocked down so low. Maybe not too snubbed, but and then I think this is a much more rewatchable and overall maybe better movie as a whole than A Quiet Place, but I still enjoy that movie a lot. But yeah, I think this is a good spot for it, and I think it's better than Prey, X, Last Night, so I like it above all of those other movies. So yeah, 67 for me. Do, 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 do.
Anyone else got one?
Thinking out loud. So I went to ranking, went down, seen Black Widow, and that was like the hard floor.
Sure.
Black Widow and Eternals. So then I started working up. I don't know. I think I'm close to where Adam's at. Looking at X. I don't know if I can go above Malignant. I think that's my ceiling.
Okay.
I like the way you're
Conjuring
doing this.
yeah. Conjuring 2, Frozen. Prey. Honestly, I'll put it below A Quiet Place.
68.
So I'll go 68. I'll go
Okay.
below A Quiet Place, above Prey.
Respectable.
Yeah.
Prey was fucking sick.
Prey was
X
pretty
is
sick.
dope. I was also having the Black Widow kind of being my floor.
Yeah.
I am going to do 70. I don't think this is better than X. I do like X a lot, but I do think this is better than Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
I'm going to round out the squadron here at 73. I like
Ooh.
The Strangers more
Strangers
than this.
is great. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one
Yeah.
thing below
Yeah.
my ranking where I was like, damn, Strangers is kind of.
And I like Halloween 2018, I think, more than this too. And X and Last Night in Soho. So, yeah, I'm going to put it at 73, below The Strangers, above Frozen.
You guys are gonna not be happy.
Are we at 69?
PR 69.5. Meaning we have to tie break it with X.
Of course.
No.
Also funny that the porno
before-
movie is at 69
Right.
as well.
Yeah. Actually, no, we got to keep that.
Yeah.
We got to keep that. I don't know how we've never noticed that.
I actually I
It might have
agree.
just changed this week, depending on which
Really?
way movies move around on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I think for just the irony of life, I feel like we got to sit on that one for a week. fellas.
before I reveal the IMDb tiebreak, where we sitting here, Back Row Banter tiebreak wise, above or below, above or below X. I'm cool either way. I obviously my ranking was above X, but if you guys feel strongly about X being better, which I know the three of you kind of like,
Yeah, X is awesome though.
we can put it
is.
below. We
It
can.
is. Yeah. What's IMDb saying, man?
IMDb has 6.6 for X.
And a
So-
7.3 for the menu.
Yeah, so
Really?
tiebreak, IMDb
6
tiebreak
for X.
means the menu above.
Yeah.
But
nah,
I know you guys
I'm
like it.
rocking. Yeah, I'm rocking the menu at 70.
70.
We'll put Anya Taylor-Joy next to herself.
Yeah, you know, as much as we love her, she doesn't have a very amazing hit rate. Northman's up there, but not as much as I kind of would want it to be. You know,
Mhm.
I need
Yeah.
I need her in a top 10.
I think the witch would skew that.
I was gonna
though.
say, yeah,
I think we
Witch
got the
would've
witch.
been-
the
on
witch
here
would
with,
skew that. You know what I just thought of, and I need this in my life is Anya Taylor-Joy in an Ari Aster movie. I think that would get her in a top 10 spot.
Yeah.
What does she have coming up? I'm gonna look her up on IMDb.
A little film called Super Mario Bros.
Yo,
Oh, isn't she Peach?
that's a top
Yeah.
10 right there.
Yeah, she
yeah.
is.
She looks like such a Peach person too. That's funny.
She plays emo Peach because she can't break out of her own.
Depressed again.
Just shitty things
happen.
happening to her
Yeah,
again.
I mean she's being held hostage by Bowser in
Yeah,
that movie.
right,
It
for
seems
sure,
so.
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, she was in Amsterdam. That's on HBO.
Is she?
Yeah. Upcoming.
She is. I think that's one we missed where I was kind of like sneakily accounting for. I
Yeah.
knew it was something new.
She's in
guess we didn't have her on time.
Furiosa,
Yeah, she's playing Furiosa,
Yeah.
I think.
which is she's got a titular movie there. The Gorge. I haven't heard of this. This is in pre-production.
No.
Scott Derrickson.
Oh, okay.
And then written by Zach Dean. Two very dangerous young people who, despite the corrupt and lethal world they operate in, find a soulmate in each other. Okay, interesting. Oh, Miles Teller. Cool, that'd be fun to see them together. And then Laughter in the Dark is her other one. This is Scott Frank. This is very early pre-production. Cool. Well, no Ari Aster on the horizon, unfortunately, but one day, maybe. If her and Florence Pugh were in the same movie together, I think we'd have to put it in the top 10.
Oh, yeah.
But Blake, I propose a moral conundrum for you. That movie is a Marvel movie.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's
we finally
Yeah.
get them on screen together, and Rebecca
for
Ferguson,
sure.
all three of
Could
them.
you imagine?
But they're all Black Widows, and in
Yeah.
Florence Pugh's solo Black Widow film, they all play assassins, and it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah. That would drive me insane.
that would be.
I'd probably watch it.
hilarious. Oh, I would
but
watch it.
I'd be upset. For
Yeah,
Sure.
that'd be unfortunate for them to finally meet up, but only there. Well, we have our ranking, the menu, sitting there at a hot 70, which sounds worse than it really is when you look at all the incredible movies above it. We really need to start reviewing some shitty movies,
We'll
I
get
feel
working
bad.
on it.
but we also don't want to I don't want to recommend and make our audience watch shitty movies. So it's really only new movies that can be put below, on the yeah. I don't know. It's a moral conundrum of the entropy list. It's a flaw. Anyway, that's it for the review. What is next week's review? I failed to look. Let me pull it up right now. Next week's review. Ooh, it's a good one.
Ooh.
The Terminator.
Lost Terminator.
Ooh.
Terminator 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I have seen, but not in a very long time.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
I am as well. That is currently streaming on AMC Plus. No one has that. You can rent it though on like Apple TV, YouTube, and all those places. So rent or watch, however you can do that. And maybe you have a DVD copy. Who knows?
I do have a
Regardless,
DVD copy, a
Okay.
genuine DVD copy of the
like
Terminator.
not even Blu-ray.
No,
not even 4K,
yeah.
just
I'm
straight
pretty
up
sure
DVD.
it's a DVD copy.
Sick. What year is it, Nathaniel? Yeah. So check out Terminator. Check out our review of that. We're gonna do actually. Maybe we should let people know this. We're gonna do a double feature, basically back-to-back weeks. Terminator and then T2. We wanting to get both of these on the pod for a while. It's been on the short list pretty much since we started the podcast, and we kind of we have some spare apps, some spare weeks the next couple months because there's not a ton coming out January, Feb, March. So we are throwing those up on there. So yeah, Terminator 1, we'll do Terminator 2 the week following that. Yeah, go check those out. I'm excited. I haven't seen, I've seen like T1, and I think that's it.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that's straight up just that's all there is. So I'm excited. 5-star review, Nathaniel.
Yeah, we got a 5-star review. Folks, if you want to have a 5-star review read out on the podcast, you can review us in-app on Apple Podcasts. It's pretty easy. Just go in there, give us 5 stars, and we'll give it to you. Or we'll read it out for you. You can say anything you want. You can be nice, you can be mean, you can be funny. Just don't be evil. Like this guy this week we have we done Mead Master yet?
Yes, we did.
Okay, we did Mead Master. So then we are on Big Guy Matt 6969.
I don't think we've done big guy Matt 6969.
Well, Big Guy Matt 6969 gives us a 5 stars, and he says, "Great listen. Really enjoy listening to the podcast. Like if interesting topics." So, if there are interesting topics, Big Guy Matt 6969 likes it. If not, I don't know. But if you want to give us a 5-star review, just like Big Guy Matt 6969, you will hear it read out on the podcast here. And just if you're wondering, I'm repeating that because every time I say it, Adam breaks down a little bit,
man.
and laughs a little bit harder.
These reviews, it's just what a cast of characters, you know.
It's true. Well, yeah, I think 3 weeks in a row it's been Gangman 69420. Then we had Matty F and Smokes.
Yeah.
And Mead Master, and now we got Big Guy Matt 6969.
We're on a roll. Thank you, listeners.
It's true. It's true.
Really appreciate the support. Okay. I think that's it for this part of the pod. What's next here? Oh, yeah. Sharing the podcast. That's the most important part. Share the podcast. Share with a friend, a family member, a date, a chef. Kiss a chef. Or kiss the chef. Isn't that the big joke on the apron sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to kiss the chef, something like that. I don't know. Tyler, you probably have one of those, don't you?
I do not.
Damn. I'm going to get you one.
I'm down.
Cool. Yeah, share the podcast. Do what you can. We need your help to grow. We cannot do it without you. While you're doing that, you can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and on YouTube or just Back Row Banter. And then for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of that sort, send it our way to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. It's where you can find me on there. Rate movies out of 5 stars. Like I said, didn't put anything on there, but hopefully we got Terminator and T2 coming on there. I could imagine I'll put some reviews on that. T2 is one of my favorite all-time movies, so I'm definitely anticipating where that one's going to fall on the entropy list. And that's all I got for you right now. We'll go popcorn. We'll go Nathaniel.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @NSGingrick. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast. And yeah, I'll kick it on over to Adam.
I'm on Twitter at Aish24, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aish, and on Letterboxd, it's just Aish. Tyler, did you go yet?
Nope.
Tyler.
Twitch.tv/UltraBajo87. I'm trying to get my stream going back up. I'm having some issues with my capture card, but we should be good to go.
Oh, no.
And then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis.
Vidales.
If you needed it spelled out for you, folks.
That's always whenever he says that, he used to spell it out.
I know.
And then it's
yeah.
been programmed in my brain. It's been Pavloved into me to think of that next. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it here for episode 132. The menu. Wow.
Whoa.
Didn't even try to do that. Join us next week for our review of T1. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate everything you can do to help us grow, and just tell your loved ones that you do love them, because sometimes you take that for granted, and you just don't know. So yeah, take care of one another, and we'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if we didn't have you all. So we appreciate it. As we say, as long as you're at least doing one thing you love every day, then you're living the best way. So we'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
That's the college bowl thing happened, right?
Yeah.
And Georgia beat the ever living piss
Yeah,
out of
they
TCU.
did. They did.
Yeah, that was crazy. Sure.
I really wasn't expecting it. I thought TCO would be playing better.
And there's
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they'd win by any means. I certainly didn't think they were going to lose by fucking 58 or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I figured
They put
I
up a
figured they
fight.
really
I
had a
thought it'd be
chance.
entertaining.
Yeah, you'd hope.
Blowout games and those kind of Showtime matchups are always disappointing, but it is what it is. Georgia back-to-back champs.
Is that particularly hard to do in college football? I know like
Has it ever
Alabama.
been done before?
Yeah, I think Alabama did it like early 2010s.
That's what I
like
thought.
11,
Alabama
12 or something like that.
would
Maybe
be the
I
only
think it was
one.
2011, 2012.
And they've probably come close to doing that probably like 4 times since then. It's
Okay.
like winning one, going back, losing the championship, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But
yeah, but
it is difficult.
think it is.
Those two schools, they're just head and
well,
shoulders.
you're
and
just
Ohio
your
State.
roster turnover year to year is so much in most programs.
Sure,
like
sure.
even at Alabama, because the people who don't play transfer, and then the people who play well enough just go into the draft. So like Alabama year in year out just has such great recruiting and great coaching that they're able to get back there. Same thing with Georgia now. They're kind of in the same boat.
And then there's a new diehard Green Bay fan at in home theater department at work, and I know that because Detroit beat Green Bay, they are now eliminated as
Yeah.
well too.
Sucks to suck.
This is
Ty.
true.
Bears have been out for a while, but were we ever expecting them to get in the playoffs? No.
And then I saw Arizona Cardinals have just shit the bed this year too,
Mm-hmm.
as well, and they fired their head coach.
Yes, they did. Interesting year in the NFL. Great year in basketball. Blake, have you been watching any basketball? I don't know if Ty or Nathaniel, if you guys are into basketball.
NBA? You're
Yeah,
talking about college.
NBA.
Yeah, I watched a decent amount of NBA for sure.
NBA this year has been awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Like this is the first year in the past 10 years and I feel like a lot of people feel this way. There's no like one front runner of like who's going to win it. It's not like, oh, this team's going to win it. Like they're just head and shoulders above everybody else. Like it's very well balanced, the teams. No one seems to be standing out, but there's also there's standout players. Like the MVP race is insane. It's like all these players. There's probably about 7 or 8 players that in any other year might be having an MVP year, but they're all doing it at the same time, and they're all just putting up crazy stat lines that it's like, how do you pick who's MVP
Sure.
when everyone is just going insane? So it's been really fun to watch. A lot of good teams. No clear favorite to kind of win the championship. Some teams have had streaks, but then they kind of
Fall
off a little bit. Some teams fell off and then got back on the horse. The Nets kind of had a rough start, but they won like 10 in a row. So, yeah, it's been fun to watch. I'm kind of getting into it more this year than previous years, and it's been a good season to watch. Which is funny because I think coming into the season, the whole thing was like this year's gonna suck because so many teams are tanking for the number 1 overall pick because they have that Victor Wembanyama guy coming in who's like 7'1" and can basically play point guard. He's got like insane ball handling. He can shoot threes. He can play in the post, obviously, because he's 7'1". He can basically do everything on the court. So he's a lot of teams were like basically tanking the rosters to try and get number 1 overall pick, and everyone was like, "Oh, this year's not gonna be fun to watch. There's only gonna be like 4 teams going for the championship," and that seems to not be the case. It seems like much more entertaining than people expected it to be, except for the Bulls. Bulls, it's very disappointing.
Not good.
Not good at all. I wouldn't say at all. They might make the play-in series, but they're like.
But doesn't half the league make the play-in? Excuse me.
They might not even make the play-in. That's the thing. It's like
Gotcha.
they probably won't make the playoffs. Like just get it directly into the playoffs unless something drastic changes.
Well, it's been 2 years, so I imagine the Suns are dog shit again.
Yes, they
there
actually
you
started
go.
off the season pretty hot, and then Chris Paul came back, and then they started tanking, and they've lost like 11 of their last 14 or something like
Yeah,
that.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, they're kind of going, and because they were in like second place for a while, and then they just kind of went the wrong direction.
Arizona sports teams break your heart every year.